All right, what's going on with everybody, man? It's your boy, NicoTV. I'm the voice of the West. I have a special guest here with me right now. Man who, a lot has been said in the past week, whether it's been good, bad, whether people are having hatred, whether people are having understanding, wherever you are at, I have the man of the hour with me, Mr. Avocado. How are you doing, sir?
Pretty good, Nico. Thanks for having me.
All right. So appreciate you taking the time. Before I get into any of my questions that I would ask or anything that I have, I want to kind of give you the floor at first. If there's anything that you would like to express or anything that you would like to say to everybody before we get started into the actual interview.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that. I think before we get started, I would like to voice that I'm here to listen. I'm not here to make any real points, any argument, any reasoning, justification, anything other than I want to listen to the people's perspective, the people's feelings, and the culture that I love, that I have let down, that I have hurt. And I think that's the best thing that I can do because I understand. I do understand. I obviously have not been on Twitter because it's extremely overwhelming, but I know the hurt and the pain that the Black community has been going through, and I know that this lets it out. And I 100%, I can't say I have that perspective because I can never say what it's like to have your perspective. I'm white in America, and but I do understand that there is a lot of pain that has been driving the community for a very long time. So I get the outrage, and I'm not running from it. And I'm here to listen to all of it, whether it's good, bad, whether it hurts me. I've had close friends of mine. I've lost close friends of mine over this. I've lost jobs over this. My parents are affected. My whole life is affected by it. But the thing about it is that this is opening up a conversation that needs to happen. This is a conversation that I think is 100% necessary right now, especially in hip hop, especially in America, especially between Black and white people. And it's necessary. And I think if I could be the person that falls for the greater good, I am okay with that. And I am 100% willing to take accountability for everything and just have everybody express their feelings and offer me their perspective so I can learn and grow. And hopefully people that see this, that don't see an issue with what I did, which there is an issue with what I did, it's 100% wrong, that can maybe change their perspective and they can learn themselves.
Definitely. So I guess I'll just start with, the video that got released. I believe it was 5 or 6 years ago? How long ago?
6 years ago. It was 2014.
2014, and that was on the Don't Flap channel?
Yes, sir.
Don't Flap channel. So the video, came out 6 years ago. I guess the first question I would ask is, because when the video had first been released, what was from then to now? Because it's obviously we see what's going on in the video, being complicit with racist jokes being said, racially sensitive things, names were dropped in the video.
Yeah.
So from that point when that video was made, where were you at then? And I guess the follow-up question would be, at what point did you feel like what occurred in that video was wrong, where it made you change from where your mind state was then, being complicit with the racism, to now where you are not complicit with it and you're willing to apologize and speak out about it?
For sure. For example, when that video came out, you said it's been out for 6 years. I don't remember when it came out. That's the thing, is when I looked at it, I didn't view myself as being in the wrong. And that just demonstrates to you the difference that I was 6 years ago and the change in my perspective as a human being. I don't really know if there's a point I could say at this moment I changed. All I can say is the summary of life's events really did morph me into having a more open mind and a more empathetic view, and also just kind of a more like wide eyes to the actual reality of systematic racism in America, and especially by white people, and how it's ingrained in us. Like, there's not a single white person out there that has not had a racist uncle, friend, like parents, like even them have a racist thought, have a racist idea told to them, had encounter with racism, and it's ingrained in us because we're not that far off from segregation. It's literally not that far away from our history right now. It's literally in the past, like recently. So our parents' generation comes from that. So being raised, I heard very racist things from family members. I've been around situations that were incredibly racist. I've done way more racist things than what are said in this video as a young person, as somebody in high school. Moving away from a small town in Colorado to California to a multicultural city such as San Francisco, the Bay Area, really did open my eyes to more out there in the world. And then furthermore, being ingrained in hip hop, being in a Black art form, really falling in love with it, meeting people, having close friends, you know, from all walks of life. And I think, to answer your question, from the past 6 years to now, what's changed is, especially the past 2 years, I've really dedicated to myself to growing as a person in all walks of life, because I've made a lot of mistakes. I've made more mistakes than probably anybody I know. I've been disloyal in every relationship I've ever had. I've done horrible lies. I used to be an alcoholic. Like, you see these posters behind me. These are actually like words of gratitude that I made, that I wake up to every day. So my life is really all about growth. And the biggest thing about my life is that I am a guest in Black culture. That's how I make my living. I film battle rap, and I'm white. So this is not my culture. No matter how long I'm here contributing towards it, no matter how much people call like me a great person and a great contributor, at the end of the day, I'm a guest. So really educating myself on the struggles that my peers and my friends go through. And to be honest with you, seeing like Black people get just blatantly murdered and no justice or ramifications for that. You know, I was young when the LA riots happened, so I don't really remember it. And I didn't live in Los Angeles or the West Coast. I live in Colorado. But living now in this media age where you see people just blatantly get absolutely murdered for doing nothing more than like reaching for their wallet in their glove compartment and getting shot. And then nothing happens because of it. And me being white, and also I grew up skateboarding, I have a lot of like history of dealing with police not being treated like that at all. Like me being able to be a smart aleck and have a wise mouth around cops and get away and not get away with it. And even as simple as not having fear of losing my life getting pulled over. Like everything boils down to that. So I think really the past 2 years, just like trying to be a better person every day, taking accountability for who I am. I host a show on my channel called Ruin an Hour. I've been doing it for a year. It's all about taking accountability, dealing with depression, anxiety, addiction, and everything. And it's a safe place for people to talk about absolutely everything. So I think doing that, and also, to be honest with you, getting involved with URL has definitely changed a lot of things for me. I met a lot of people through that. I developed a close relationship with B-Dot. I met Geechee, people who I consider close friends of mine that we're from different walks of life, and they can share their perspective with me. And I can see firsthand, you know, how these things affect people. And yeah, I think that's kind of just life changed me a lot. But I'm not here to be like, I'm changed, so, you know, like that's okay. I'm a different person. I wasn't like that, but, you know, back then, because I think the best thing that can be happen out of this video is showing it's not okay to do that. It's not okay to sit in a room full of white people and make a racist joke and let that shit slide. And I think the best thing to come out of this video, and especially putting me on blast about it, is to be like, yo, if this happens today, if you're sitting in Thanksgiving and your uncle makes a racist joke, it's your job to be like, that doesn't fly here. That's not cool. Like, I love you, uncle, but that is not okay. And I know you're from a different generation, a different time, but now is now. And this is not okay in this day and age. And I think that's a great thing about this video coming to surface, is just to be like, it doesn't matter that I've changed. I mean, it matters to me that I've changed, but right now, all that matters is dissecting why this video was hurtful to the community that accepted me with open arms.
Right.
So,
right. So just to kind of give my perspective on it, when I first seen the video, I was pretty late to the party. I honestly, I seen it probably like right before I was getting ready to like get my show started and everything. So when I first seen the video, it definitely offended me. I was definitely very angry. I was like, fuck 'em, pretty much. I was just on some really vile type shit because my upbringing, every Black person has dealt with racism in some way. Me, my experience was I dealt with it in my family. My grandmother comes from Europe. Her family was very racist, comes from even Nazi background if you go far back enough. So she came over here to the States with a very racist mindset, did not have the viewpoint of Black people in the way that I feel everybody should be treated, which is equal. And I grew up seeing that shit covertly, just little shit that'll be said, things that most people wouldn't even think is racist, wouldn't even question it. I look at it and I get annoyed by it immediately. I get angry. Yeah. So when I did see that video, it definitely did anger me for all parties involved. And I definitely had my perspective was just like, no, I don't think that anybody who has ever had racist thoughts could ever change, because in my opinion, racism being as evil as it is and the psychology behind it, I've never seen examples, or at least never been around enough to see examples of people who have had or have practiced or have been complicit in racism change the way that they are. I had conversations with people like Geechee. We are on my show for almost 4 hours. We were up until like 4 a.m. talking on the show. And we had like a very in-depth kind of a conversation about it. When I was out at my protest last night in Sacramento, the community leaders that I respect, I had conversations with them about it and asked them, you know, is it possible for somebody to change? Because my perspective growing up was that you can't. Even though somebody says they are, even if you see the signs of it, I'm still wary because I know what I seen growing up, and that's some wicked shit.
So let me ask you, just because I'm interested, when you like, has there been examples of people in your life that have like been like, I've changed, and then it shows that like their actions prove otherwise, like you're saying in your family?
I wouldn't say the actions prove otherwise. My grandmother being the one that I mentioned, there's definitely a change. I can see it. Okay. But I think for me, the pain of it is what keeps me away. And I have cut her off for many years. You understand what I'm saying? And it's really the last, I would say, 3 to 4 months that my perspective has changed, because that's when I started going outside in the community. That's when I started getting very active at these marches, these protests, these vigils, these press conferences, these actions. You know what I'm saying? I'm very involved in the community every single day. So just being active and outside, I see that a lot of the time, majority of the time when it comes to these protests, it's a lot of other races. It's not as many Black people as what I thought it would be coming outside. So I've had to learn how to work with other races on something as sensitive as racism and be able to trust that at least some of you are out here for the right reasons. Now, regardless if they are or not, I'm not able to tell that, but I go by the action. I go by what you present. And if it's thorough to me, if it looks like it's 100 to me, I can rock out with it and I can be around you. Yeah. Going to the video in question, like I said, my initial thing was a lot of anger, very upset, was not trying to hear anything differently. I had conversations, like I said, with different people, especially the community leaders, and they kind of told me, yeah, any person can change if they were once had a certain mindset, especially somebody white, if they had racist thoughts or they practice it, they can definitely change, but it takes a certain amount of heart and a certain amount of character to identify what you're doing is wrong and stop it, not use your privilege to your advantage, not weaponize your whiteness to your advantage. So I think for me, though I still have a lot of reservations about it, I am willing to, in some way, give another chance to see if a person has changed. Now, I do not forgive racism. I do not forgive anything racist. It's very evil to me, and my upbringing, what I've seen and what I've just seen to people across the world, is global. I cannot forgive it. So it's not going to be forgiven, but I think that a person can move on past it and be able to do something productive.
Mm.
I feel like it just takes, for me, it takes the necessary amount of sincerity, the necessary amount of tangible change where you can visibly see there is tangible change. And I think it just takes the consistency of it. It takes time. I don't think everything is healed just because somebody says, I'm sorry, and then you move on past it. It takes time for some of that type of stuff. So I am willing to give another chance. Obviously, seeing that video, everybody has had a different kind of take. I just had my show this morning. People were killing me for what I'm saying to you right now. So I am willing to give another chance, but in terms of the actual action, that to me is not forgivable. It's a part of history. It's something where I'm always going to look side-eyed. Like,
Yeah.
I don't really know. Like, I see the work, I see the change, but I'm still very cautious. I'm still looking at it from a side perspective. So
Yeah.
that's where I am right now with that video.
Yeah, I understand that, man. That makes a lot of sense. Thank you for sharing that perspective. I mean, that totally makes a lot of sense, especially you expressing that you've always felt like racism, if somebody expresses it, that's such a deep, dark evil that will always be there. And you can correct me if I'm wrong, but like the mistrust of white people, like I think the reason why this kind of is such a big deal within the battle rap community is because so many people welcomed me with open arms as being an ally. And my job in that instance was not to, cheer on the joke and keep it going. It was for me to negate it and use my privilege to exercise why it's incorrect. And it kind of just, I think, makes people fall back in line of like, we can't trust white people because they're all racist. And there's like nothing I can say to that because I could see your perspective. Like, how can I argue against that? I've done racist things. I don't know a single white person out there that has not done a racist thing or had some racist thought, or something that they thought wasn't racist, which really was just because of their upbringing, or, like anything like that, man. Like, it's like, and just talking to my friends in the community about this, it's like hearing their perspective. I don't blame anybody for not forgiving the act at all, or even not forgiving me. Like, it's completely understandable. And I definitely understand the perspective 100%.
Definitely. One thing that I've been seeing a lot of within the culture as it pertains to the whole situation that came out with the video and then the aftermath of it. You had released an apology video.
Yes, sir.
The same day, I think maybe within a few hours of the actual video being resurfaced and everything. Yeah. One thing that I've seen a lot of in the culture is that two different things. One, people feel like it was rushed. And they feel like another side of it was they didn't get the necessary level of sincerity from that video. For you, because I know that you put that out there and you wanted to express that, how do you respond to people saying that type of thing about the apology video that you released?
I mean, I could see that perspective. I mean, I'm just going to be honest with you. I did make that video really fast on Twitter. And if you guys can hear it in my voice, I'm very my voice is shaky, and it's because I'm nervous, and it's because it's like overwhelming for me. And this is something that I hold really close to my heart, and to be called racist and who I am is like a really hurtful thing. And if people can think it's insincere, I can't say anything to change their mind about that. All I can say is I guess I can understand that, especially with the gravity of racism in the Black community from white people in general. I can completely understand that. If it's like you said some racist thing, nothing is going to make this better, and you seem kind of like, even you saying I'm sorry, it seems sort of fake. It's like you're doing it for your own self-preservation. Like, I don't want to hear that. Get out of here. Understand that completely. And especially coming out right away, I can see that as well. Like, it's too rushed. Maybe I should have thought about it. Because those videos I do, even the caffeine blog, they're all freestyled. Like, I don't have a script or anything. I just kind of turn the camera on and talk. Like, I don't even know what I'm going to talk about, because I like to do that. I like to have honesty and truth come out in my words, and not script anything out, because to me that feels inauthentic. Even all these podcasts I'm doing, I really just want to hear people's perspective and hear people's anger and pain. And I don't even know what I'm going to say most of the time when I'm walking into it. I know my truth and who I am as a man and who I am as a human and who I'm becoming, the path I'm on. So I definitely can see that. I made the apology video kind of quickly because a certain friend of mine was, I don't know if he's comfortable with me naming him, but he was reaching out to me and saying how hurt he was about the video and that I should apologize right away, something publicly. And this is a really good friend of mine, somebody that I've worked with a lot, and seeing his pain really, like, I was like, damn, I hurt my friend. I hurt my friend's feelings, like, and I let my friend down, and somebody that I believe in so much. So I made it because I took his advice, and especially on this subject, I'm like, you know more about this than I do. And I feel like I'm very ignorant on this. I don't know the Black perspective, I don't know how to navigate that, and I can't ever say that I will. So yeah, I can definitely see why people said it might've been preemptive and seemed insincere, even though it's like, I can only speak my truth. I'm the most sincere and honest I'm being ever currently. And I'm willing to take all the criticism, all the hate, anything, throw it my way. Because I want to hear everything about it, man. If you feel like I'm insincere, tell me why. I want to hear it. I'm not here to be like, no, this is the reason why I'm sincere. I'm here to be like, interesting. Okay. I hear your perspective. I hear you.
Right. From the conversations I've had with you, because we've talked a couple times before this even started, and I've also had conversations with people close to you.
Yeah.
Gotti being one of them. And just from the conversations we've had, I can vouch for your level of sincerity. Regardless, I've watched the apology video, and I do feel like it was rushed. I feel like I'm the type of person who I always try to do things in the most thorough way possible. So I'm not going to give a hot take about something that's like this. Even with this situation, my initial feeling was, I'm angry. I'm not rocking with it or him right now. I'm on one.
Yeah.
But for me, I represent not only the media, just in battle rap and the West region in particular, but I also represent something outside of battle rap. And I don't want to be making a rush or incorrect assessment just off of emotion. I try and use logic over emotion and try and get every single perspective I can get so that I make sure I can stand on whatever it is my decision is. I can stand on it. And I know that I've done my proper amount of due diligence to that point. One thing that also came up because of the video, Verb's name was mentioned within the video. And obviously, Verb, rightfully so, is very upset, very angry. People close to him, very upset, very angry. Have you reached out to Verb? Have you guys talked at all since that has resurfaced?
So kind of the chain of events was this, like, that video came out. To be honest with you, I didn't even watch it. But I watched I watched the section that I cheers. So I watched that. And then I kind of was just like, that is horrible. I need to apologize for that right now, because I'm offended by watching this. I can't believe that happened. I forgot that happened. So I didn't see the Verb comment. And then I saw that he was mad. And then I was like, so I DM'd him, because I'm like, he's mad because he's Black and he's a father. And I know that. So I DM'd him my number. I was like, hey, call me. I want to apologize. He hasn't called me. I don't have his number, unfortunately. And nobody will give me his number. I've actually reached out to a lot of people in the community, and they've been like, he's really mad. He doesn't want, it's probably better if you don't talk to him. And I'm just like, all right. And so, yeah, I mean, I've extended the hand there, and I can't do much more. I know he's really angry. He wants to do a lot more than talk. And all I can say is this: I understand his anger 100%. I understand why he'd be angry about me laughing at a joke. That completely understand. I did not say that he was a bad father. I said that 24/7 wanted to beat a Verb. They're both battlers. So I wanted to, that's what I wanted to clear the air on. I wasn't saying that he wanted to be a bad father. I said beat. So we're talking about people battling each other, and that's why. So it's not, it's a humongous miscommunication on that, and I would apologize for that if I had said that, but I didn't say that. So that's kind of the frustrating part about the A-Verb thing, because I get his anger and amongst everybody's anger. I understand it, but he's angry because he thinks I said something that I actually did not say. So, yeah.
Do you feel like even with that, do you feel like it is something where he's mad that his name was even mentioned, period? Like the context of the entire video with the racist jokes being said, and you know what I'm saying, the toasting, the touche and all of that, and then having his name dropped. Do you feel like that plays a part in it, that he was mentioned specifically in that?
So I guess to answer that, you have to watch the original video, because what everybody's going off of is an edited video for a purpose, right? It's like, it's made to convey a purpose. It's edited together. It's an interview that's truncated together. So that A-Verb comment isn't next to the racist joke. It's actually a lot further in the video, talking about people battling each other. So to me, it's about battle rap. Like, I was mentioning his name amongst battle rap, and I've always talked about people battling each other. I've always given my honest opinion about who I thought would win in a battle. So to me, that's not an act of racism. But if I am wrong, I'm very open to being proven wrong, and I'm very open to taking accountability for that statement. But in my path I'm on right now, I don't believe that that's me being racist. I believe that's me being a fan of battle rap and talking about two people battling. So I think what happened is, I think he heard that his name was mentioned. I think he saw the joke and rightfully got really mad about it. And I think that's what's happened. In that sense, I'm like, yeah, you are justified being angry, but I didn't say what you think I said. So that's, I'm struggling right now, Nico, with it, because it's like, I definitely understand why people are mad, but at the same time, I do have to be like, there is some sense of clarification I have to give over what I actually did, because that's all I can do. And I did not say that A-Verb was a bad father because he's black. I just didn't say that.
All right. So the other thing with this video is also the timing of it resurfacing. The day prior to the video resurfacing, you had a blog went pretty much viral in the culture. Everybody was talking about it. It was a lot of tweets, a lot of blogs being made about your comments about caffeine and that whole entire situation. What's your take on the video, like the timing of it being released, and the whole entire URL and caffeine kind of narrative that is combined within that?
The timing is very convenient to caffeine. And I want to be very clear about this, because I think people are still kind of mixed up about what that blog was. I have no issue with URL. I love URL, and I've always loved URL. They have been one of my main clients for the past 2 years. I've done countless free work for them. I've gone above and beyond for them as a company and a brand. It's because I love them. They are the culture. They are what moves the culture, and I want to keep contributing to them in whatever way I can. obviously with this video resurfacing, I understand that complicates things, and I would totally be understandable if they moved on for me. But I do think it's convenient, the timing. I do think it is somebody putting it out there for an ulterior motive, for sure. And I'm not saying it's URL. And I don't want anybody to misconstrue that. It's not a URL doing this in any way, shape, or form. And yeah, my stance with caffeine still didn't change. I still feel the same way. But so yeah, I guess that's my answer to that.
Right. So I guess like one thing that I have a question on, just personally, my personal question. I know I asked this earlier in a different way about like when for you it started to change from what 6 years ago was to then. Was it anything like in particular? Was it when you started working with the URL or quote unquote black leagues that it changed for you? Was it something prior to that that started like getting your perspective differently? Like what was it for you, like specifically, I guess, like that started making you look at whatever your thoughts, your ideology was in terms of racism to where you are now with your thoughts on
A lot of things, man. There's so many things that changed my perspective and kind of shifted me towards the man I am today. For example, I lived in a black household for 4 years. My ex-girlfriend is half black, and her mother that I lived with was black. And living in a black household of black women, you change who you are very much so because you see their perspective. I saw them literally cry when Trump got elected, like be brought to tears. I sat with them and watched like something like Lemonade and remembering being like, this is so powerful watching this with two black women. It's like things that have like shifted who I am as a human being. Might be small to some people, but to me, they're like very, very big. Seeing how things resonate with two women that I love to this day, that crumples them and it literally makes them feel powerless as human beings because of the systematic oppression that they have gone through in their life. I'm not in that relationship anymore. I broke up with her 2 years ago. Since then, I've been sober and, cleaned myself of a lot of addictions. And then also the other big thing that's happened to me is that growing a close bond with people like B-Dot, Pass, even honestly, my non-black friends that are, I don't know what the word is other to say than they're educated on that. Changing my perspective on white privilege. My ex-girlfriend had a humongous hand in that. And she was always somebody that pushed me to be a better person because 6 years ago, I wasn't really proud of who I am. And I'm still not proud of who I was 6 years ago. The whole reason why I got sober 2 years ago is I woke up after I got out of a relationship that I was cheating on my ex with and just doing terrible things. I was literally, I've said this online tons of times, but I literally was filming porn behind her back. So sleeping with tons of women, filming it and putting it online, cheating on her behind her back. Also, I was an alcoholic. So I wake up one day and I'm just like, I don't like who I am. I don't like this person at all. Disloyal, drunk, angry, hates his life. And I really put in an effort to change who that person was. And I think a lot of that was honestly boiling it down to not knowing white privilege here in who I am, and especially like in battle rap too. I exercise white privilege a lot within the community of battle rap. And it's probably not talked about because it's not really as noticeable, but it's definitely there. It's definitely there, as it is with everything. So I think the past 2 years changed a lot, forming a bond with B-Dot, talking with people like B-Dot and Oops, and like having them be very open and honest with me about how they feel about things, and having it feel comfortable to talk to them too. That really made a difference as well. Like not feeling like they were just going to punch me in the face out of nowhere if I asked a question or like call me ignorant or stupid, like to have care, And I think that was some of my fear a lot of the time when asking questions about this. And I think that's a lot of people's fear, actually, when having race discussions. I don't know if you can empathize with this, but like talking with a person of color about race, sometimes some people feel like so attached to an identity that they're like scared to be vulnerable and scared to be called out on, like, you did this wrong, like saying this is wrong. And then you feel racist for a second, but that's the truth. That is racist, and you should feel like that. So yeah, forming a close bond with those guys, filming with URL, having it be a wonderful experience, being in a crowd, literally being like one of the few white people in the crowd, and feeling so comfortable and accepted, and having people around me smiling, strangers dapping each other up, talking about just hip hop in bars and being like, oh, that was crazy that he said that. Who's going to win this battle? You know, see strangers passionately argue with each other about an art form they care about and coming together, to me was so fucking beautiful. And I felt so comfortable around it. And I was just like, why? This is so insane. Not insane, I shouldn't say that. It's so interesting that I feel more comfortable in being one of the few white people in this big crowd of 2,000 black people than I would if it was a crowd of 2,000 white people. You know, it's like if I go to like a concert nowadays, honestly, when I like go someplace and it's a room full of white people, it's kind of weird for me. I'm like, oh, this is like strange. I live in Santa Monica in West LA, and it is nothing but white people over here. And I am constantly uncomfortable in this place I live. I used to live in Highland Park, which was 90% Latino, and I just felt more comfortable there. I don't know why. So yeah, I think those series of events really did shape who I am, or the path, I should say, the path I'm on today, and one of learning and growing. And still to this day, even having this conversation with you, learning and growing, and finding out new things and sharing new perspectives.
Definitely. I know you had mentioned B-Dot and Oops. Those are two people that I greatly respect and, you know, have, since I've been involved pretty much every day the last 3-4 months and being outside on the front lines with activism and things of that nature. Those are two people that I greatly respect their work, what they stand for, their consistency. What have those conversations been like since the video came out? And what was kind of the sense or kind of the conversation like just between you and those guys?
Honestly, I haven't had the chance to talk to Oops. I've been on the phone literally nonstop from since the video dropped till now, like calling everybody, like not even just people in the community. Like before this, I had to cut off a call short from my brother that has like, you know, he follows the channel, and he's like, wow. And he was just calling to check and make sure I was okay. So I've been on the phone constantly. Unfortunately, there's a lot of people I haven't had the chance to call. The frustrating thing about it too is that I'm not on Twitter right now just to preserve my own mental health. And I haven't been able to call a lot of people I really want to reach out to, like Hennyman, Twiz, Rida, like a lot of people, even Jay Black, people that I view as friends in the community that I want to hear their perspective on this. Not even that I want to like be like, let's talk so it's okay. I'm just like, hey, I know that I probably hurt your feelings over this or disappointed you. Let me hear about it. Tell it to me so I can hear. But my conversations with B-Dot have been really good. It's not like I've talked extensively with him over it, but he is really, really disappointed in me. He's really sad about it. And I don't really know how comfortable he is with me saying much more than that, is that he's just super disappointed in me because he thought that I was like, oh, the one guy he could trust. And I proved him wrong in that sense. So he's really let down by that. And that sucks, man. That like hurts so much to hear because like I really do love B-Dot. Like I love him as a human being. And, you know, even like how much we worked together, like the last video we put out, Change, like to me was so important. Like filming his battle with Sister Outspoken, like every piece of art we've worked together on, like to me mattered a lot because it aligned with his perspective, which I believed in, and that I can't do that. I'm not the voice. So it's like, if I can help that voice, to me, I feel like that's such a noble thing to do. And not only that, but I feel like I can be of service and exercise my privilege to give help to a cause that I believe in. So yeah, it hurts a lot, man. But it's like, me saying that shouldn't matter. Like me saying, oh, it hurts because my pain is doesn't matter in this moment. Like B-Dot's pain is what really matters in this moment. Like, you know, he's lived his whole life with this pain. This is 2 days for me. Like, big fucking deal. Like, you know, it's like, I'm like, oh, I can't go on Twitter. Like, who cares? Like, you guys can't even get pulled over. You can't even walk out your door without fear being implemented in your mind. So it's like, me complaining about how, like, my friend doesn't like me right now is kind of, I guess, inappropriate. So I shouldn't have, you know, gone into that. But yeah, I'm just kind of honestly expressing my feelings about the relationship between me and him, because I do value him as a friend, and he's just massively disappointed in me as a human being. So
definitely. I feel like right now, I more so want to like kind of give, like, I know I did this at the beginning, but just more so even after we've talked, after, you know, the different things, the topics that we've discussed and everything, really just kind of give you like a chance to, whatever it is that you want people to know in the culture, people, you know, watching this, people who are going to hear about it, people who may not even see it, but they've seen the video, they've seen the apology video, and everything like that. Kind of just like give you the floor to kind of like express to people what you want them to know from you going forward. I kind of feel like how you were saying would be that I'm kind of in the same mindset.
yeah,
And for me, it's like, it's not something that I forgive, but it is something that if I am to believe, which I was told, that a person can change, you have to judge them by the heart that they show and the character that they show. And so that's more or less where I'm at with it, although I am still in that pain area, in that the hurt of just, you know, the emotion of it.
yeah.
But for you, for the next, you know, couple minutes, however long you need, whatever it is you would like to express to the culture, whatever it is that you would like to say to them, anything that you just want to express so that they know and hear it from you. You know, next few minutes is all you.
All right, thank you, man. I appreciate that. Um, I want to hear you guys. I want to hear the pain. I want to hear what hurts about it. I want to hear your perspective. That to me is what I want to come of this situation. I don't want, like, me to just sweep this under the rug and let's like make it okay and let's move on. Let's like keep, you know, the wheel turning. For me, this changes everything. And I think this should change a lot of things for a lot of people, because I think this should open the door for the conversation that we're having between like me and Nico, like where he's talking about he doesn't forgive the act of racism because it is such an intrusive, deep-rooted evil within people of my race, of white people. So I want to hear things like that, because that matters to me, and hearing that perspective will hopefully shape other people's perspective that might be like me 6 years ago or even 10 years ago. And that will help, because there are a lot of people that are white in the culture and that align themselves with me just because I'm white, you know, and they're like, oh, here's the white guy in Battle Royale. We like him, you know, we like to watch his videos because he looks like me, he talks like me, blah, 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 you know? And for them to see that I do stuff wrong, that I make mistakes, that I have said something, you know, I've laughed at a racist joke and condone it, that I have done wrong things in my past, that I am not perfect. I am far from a perfect man. I'm anything but a perfect man. And I am about taking accountability for those and doing nothing more than saying I was wrong. And I want to hear the pain. I want to hear the people that I've hurt, because I love this community. I love battle rap. I love the people that are in it with my heart, and all those things I said in the caffeine video to me still reign true. I care about this more than anybody that I know, and that is in a culture that isn't mine. So me being in a culture that isn't mine, when I do something that is disobeying the house rules, you guys have every right to kick me out of the house and to tell me why. And that's all I hope is. I hope that there can be a conversation about it, perspectives shared. This is why you hurt me. This is why you condoning that and laughing at that hurt, because I'm owning up to what I did wrong. And I want that to be a basically wedge between this friction that is between white people ignoring that racism is there. Even so, I got a lot of flack for actually like commenting about this on a video, but I think even this conversation should come up in battle rap. Like I was watching Blue Easy versus, who did he battle at Band where he smacked Tay-Rock's blunt out of his hand? I think it was Av. So Av has a whole round where Tay-Rock is hyping him up, and he's like, he's a cracker, which is incredible. Tay-Rock is the best hype man in the world. But I saw a bunch of people in the chat being like, that's racist. That's racist. And to me, I was like, that's interesting, because I don't view that as being racist. I might view that, I guess, as maybe being bigoted a little bit. But to me, and we can even talk about this because I think this is maybe a good conversation to have, because maybe I don't have the right in saying this because I'm white. But to me, Black people don't have the ability to be racist in America because they don't have any power in the system. So there's no actually, there's no vehicle propelling those, where it's like, if I was to make that joke, you know, that 24/7 said, there's power behind it, because white people have power over Black people in America, and you're punching down essentially. And me coming out and say, I was kind of surprised, because I was like, I don't think cracker is a racist term, because what power does cracker have over white people? Nothing. It's like, it means literally nothing. And there's no systematic power behind that word. So it's not a racist term. It might be bigoted, sure, but it's not racist. And that's why I was trying to bring that up. And I got a lot of backlash from that. I got a lot of white people being like, in my DMs being like, I'm fucking disappointed in you. You're just like rehashing some bullshit speech you saw. Like, you don't even know what you're talking about. And I wanted to be like, let's talk about it. Why, what do you mean? Like, what's your perspective? Because this is what I believe. And all they could say is like that you're just rehashing things that you said. And I'm like, well, isn't that like, isn't that knowledge in the first place? Spreading ideas and talking about it back and forth. Oh, I didn't know, Nico, I didn't know like about this, about how you thought racism was an inherent evil that can never be unlearned. That's interesting. You know, like I now have that knowledge in my mind, and I can take that with me in my life. So that's an example of like, you know, there is still people in this culture that, you know, I'm an example, that have said racist things or have condoned racist actions and not stood up when the time is right to stand up. And I think more importantly, with how things are going right now, we're at a turning point in society where we all need to fucking stand up for injustices that are so unignorably great and apparent against the Black community, where they're literally just getting murdered by the people that are sworn to protect them, that have no interest in protecting them. And it is our job to teach, as a white guy, to teach other white people, you can't let shit like that fly, because that's the first step in then not standing up for bigger causes. So yeah, I'm 100% down for having the discussion. I understand the outrage and the hate and everything that's going against me. I'm not plugging my ears, covering my eyes in the corner. I'm off Twitter because I'm a human being and I deserve to preserve my mental health. But if people want to contact me one-on-one, if want to hit me up on Facebook, I was literally thinking about putting my number on Twitter, but I think that will be abused more than it will prove to be anything helpful. But everybody that knows me can call me if you feel a type of way, I'm going to be just like going through my contacts list. And I think just calling people out of the blue to be like, hey, let's hear what you have to say about this. Because I think sharing their perspectives will be ultimately helpful towards me and the people that align with me within the culture. So yeah, I guess that's all I really want to say, Nico. I appreciate you so much, man, for sharing your perspective, for not mincing words with me, for telling me how you feel about how you don't forgive it. I appreciate that honesty, because that's real, and that's all we can do between each other is be as honest and transparent as possible. And that's what helps me have a better understanding of you as a human being. So thank you for that.
Definitely. Just to close out right now, for me, like I said, I had my show earlier this morning with my guy Ledge, a top tier podcast. Shout out to my brother. Racism is something that all Black people have dealt with, covertly, overtly, whether in your household, your job, a store run, walking up a street, an interaction with a cop, you've dealt with it in some way. Sometimes you may not even know that you've dealt with it, honestly. And for me, I don't forgive it because the forgiveness aspect of saying, oh, I forgive you for doing this. I cannot forgive the action, but I can say, okay, you made this action, you did something that's unforgivable, but I do believe a person can change if they have the right amount of heart and the right amount of character and show the necessary level of sincerity. That person can change and show something different than what they've shown in the past. So for everybody out there, I hope that this dialogue was in some way productive. I hope that you guys can get something out of this. And any questions, anything that you guys have, you know what I'm saying? Like you said, reach out to them. For all the people who have reached out to me and told me, hey, we don't agree with this, it should be this way. I don't disagree with some of you guys. I've had those exact same feelings. And so a part of me still has some of those feelings, but at the same time, for me personally, as somebody who not only represents battle rap in a media or blogging capacity, not just representing my region, but also representing the entire culture with the stuff that I cover and the stuff that I represent outside of here in my community, in other cities all throughout Northern California. I want to be able to be as thorough and as articulate as possible when talking about topics like this, letting it be known that a certain level of accountability needs to be taken for something like this, and all people who commit or have committed any type of racist acts, not just white people, Asian people, Mexican people, all races. I am of the belief that a Black person cannot be racist because there is no power behind it, but I am also of the standpoint of, when it comes to situations like this, for people out there, I would like you guys to maintain a level of consistency as well. And I would like you guys to be able to maintain that consistency as a whole, all of us, all races, maintain a certain level of consistency when it comes to this, because this is not an issue that's just going to go away. This is a fight. This is like Nipsey said, it's a marathon. This is something that has continued throughout hundreds of years. And if you understand where it comes from, why it was even created, you understand the level that you have to even go to even get past this. So just for everybody, hopefully this conversation was productive. Again, Avocado, I appreciate you taking the time and even reaching out to be on here. And yeah, that's all I have for you guys. Thanks for tuning in. And if you guys need to get at me, say anything to me, find me on Twitter at NicoTV _. I'll definitely be able to talk more about it. You guys can DM me or just hit me up on there. Definitely be up on there all the time. Yeah, man, just keep it battle rap, keep it Western, man. Voice of the West signing out. We out of here.